Hey everybody, what do you think about our impressive wood pile? Thank you, Jose. He helped me do this.
Yes.
I helped him roll the big logs up there, and he, split them into smaller pieces and stacked them for me while I got other things done. And it was really funny when I mentioned, hey Jose's, I put him in a video, and somebody said, "Why aren't you splitting wood?" It's like people don't, and I know you guys do, but they don't really understand it. He works for me, and I keep him busy, doing all kind of stuff when we're slow. And I am very grateful.
He's amazing. He does. He helps us take care of the place, and I couldn't do it without Jose.
Yeah, he's like my best bud.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most expensive wood pile you've ever seen.
But anyway, I hope you guys had an absolutely amazing and wonderful Thanksgiving. And if we get a chance at the end of this video, if there's time, we'll show you our chili Frito pie that we talked about.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so
can you believe
as Dan
some people don't know about Frito chili pies?
I know.
We're gonna fill you in a minute.
So as Dan would say, we got a good one for you today.
Yes, we do.
So let's get to it, and let's kind of talk about gold and silver and some bank stories and what's going on with
Yes,
inflation.
we've got subscribers that are reaching out, telling us their stories about them going to the bank, withdrawing money, because people are starting to want to get out of the banks. You don't want all of your assets in one spot. They're waking up, they're getting out, and why don't you go ahead and tell them about that one story, and then I'll ease into the gold and silver in a minute.
Absolutely. So there were two subscribers actually that called in, which by the way, thank you guys for letting me share your story also, because I always ask your permission. No names, no details. But one gentleman, he had gone, was a family member, he had gone to a couple of different banks several different times, pulled some money out, not excessively, staying below the radar. And then I guess they were tracking him, because all of a sudden out of the blue, he gets a phone call saying, "Sir, why are you pulling all this money out? What are you doing with it? What's your purpose and reason and all this?" And basically he said, "None of your business," which is good for him. But I found it interesting that they were actually tracking and just paying attention to what he was doing.
Here.
That's okay. Then the other one was a couple had gone and they wanted to pull some money out, so they had called the bank ahead of time. And once again, we're not talking about, I'm not talking in the millions. I mean, we're talking just typical funds that you would go pull out. And he said it was a bank policy, the teller said, and she did not go talk to anyone. She immediately said it was the bank policy, if it was that much amount, that the police had to escort them to the edge of the city limits. And he's like, "Absolutely not." He said, "You're putting a target on my back, just letting people know if I'm pulling out from a bank and you're going to escort me to the city limits with cops. You're basically saying I've just pulled some money out." So lenders, it's getting interesting. We've even noticed personally, I read something the other day that commercial lending is starting to tighten their belts and the restrictions and what they're requiring and different things like that. And personally, we've actually been experiencing that lately we're trying to get a line of credit on the rent house that we have paid off. And normally it was a cut and dry, sign some paperwork, move on. And we're having to jump through a few different hoops.
And we're talking about a rent house that's completely paid off.
Yep.
It should be, hey, I want a line of credit, here's the collateral.
Right.
Done. They want to know everything. They're tightening lending standards. We're starting to see it firsthand.
Yep, we are. And they say that's going to help the Fed. I don't know if it will or not. But what I find interesting is how it's going to possibly, because people are starting to pull their money out of the banks, how it's going to affect the gold and silver prices. And we were talking about that, because tell about the story about Ghana. That was very interesting. And we're talking about.
So Ghana is essentially trading a commodity for a different commodity.
Yep.
That's what gold is. Gold's been money forever, and it still is. Silver's been money forever, and it still is. And Ghana is going to take their gold and buy oil with it. They're the 6th largest producer in the world, and it's very strange to watch this unfold. See, they're starting to have inflations over 40% there. The CDI,
that's their currency.
CEDI, yeah, and inflation's eating them up. The dollar's getting strong. So why not use the gold that you're producing?
Well, and they're supposedly, in West Africa, they're supposed to be one of the most stable, or more stable, their democracy and all this, and their inflation is now peaked. And so they're saying, hey, to fight this, we're actually going to go from peer to peer, commodity to commodity. They're going to actually buy gold locally, turn around and buy that local gold for oil. They're going to completely bypass the dollar.
Yeah, and this hasn't happened yet, but I got something from President Mohamed Baumua. He announced on Facebook that Ghana is working on a new policy effective next year to buy oil products with gold rather than the U.S. dollar reserves, as a part of government measures to strengthen the cedi. He added, the government of Ghana will buy gold locally with cedis through the Bank of Ghana and the exchange the gold for fuel in a barter form, for example,
Bartering.
with the government of UAE. That's really another shoe that's falling for gold. It's kind of
Well, the U.S. dollar,
it's
too.
another shoe on the dollar too, but it all comes back to what is your currency backed by?
Yep.
And at the same time, for example, China and Russia may be working on a new gold-backed currency to move. The move would dethrone the dollar as a primary reserve currency of the world. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but China's been buying historically large amounts of gold.
Sun's in my face, sorry.
In July 2022, the Chinese government purchased 80.1 tons of gold,
Huge.
valued at $4.6 billion, according to Fox Business. That more than doubled the nation's gold purchase from the previous month.
Yep.
The second largest amount they purchased in a single month was in 2012. So there's a lot of wind in the gold sales, and I wanted to bring up a few billionaires because I'm not a financial advisor, guys. I want to produce evidence that will kind of help us think through the problems that we're seeing. And when you see billionaires like Jeffrey Gundlach, he's worth $2.1 billion. He is a financial advisor. He's moving into gold. The money manager, dubbed the Bond King, gold has hedged against what he sees as a weakening U.S. dollar. Nagub Sawiris buys gold as a means of crisis protection. He's worth $2.9 billion. And this is a quote from him: "Tend to go with gold during crises, and we are full of crises right now." Sam Zell, he's one of the largest real estate holders. He's 77 years old. He's worth $5.5 billion. He just says the gold is widely known as a hedge against inflation. Ray Dalio, worth $18.7 billion. Same difference. They're hedging against inflation. Lord Jacob Rothschild, I got it wrote down on the back here. I don't know what he's worth, but it was a spectacular number. But the point is, these people are, the wealthy, the billionaires, are hedging in precious metals.
They are.
It's not me or her trying to push you into precious metals. I recommend you try to find the best deal first. Go to your local coin shop, go all over the internet, try to find the best deal, and give us a shot at beating it, because we usually do.
We try. Yeah.
The important thing is you hedge if you have something to hedge.
Right.
A lot of people are not. They would probably be better off buying food and paying off debt and that kind of stuff. But if you do have some wealth to hedge, and that is one of the ways to do it. Fine art's another way. I'll talk about that in another video. Land is a way, but it's a small thing you can put in your pocket and you can hedge.
Yeah, but on that same note, you may change your mind. You may not always be the same every single month. And I tell people this when we talk all the time, because we talk to people, like we're huge investors in real estate. Well, what did we do the other day? We sold ours. And we're going to hopefully get back into it. Is there a point that you would ever sell your precious metals? Absolutely. I talk to people about that all the time. There is no set answer, I don't think. And I think that's where people get hung up. That one day I can say, hey, this, and the next day Chris and I will do our financial statement, and I'm like, all right, Chris, look, we may need to change and move into this other area a little bit. Or we may need to change and move into this other. So it's constantly changing. And like he said, we're not financial advisors. We're constantly researching. We're constantly listening to other people that, way above our pay grades. And I think that's what we're trying to say is that's kind of how to operate. I don't think you can just get stuck in one
it's like diet. You can't. I try different diets all the time, and I use them. They're like tools to me. And I'll do keto diet for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'll get off of it, and somebody will come up to me and say, I thought you were on keto diet.
And he's eating carbs.
And I'm eating carbs. It's like, well, I was, but I use that as a tool, and I bob and weave, just like we're going to have to in the financial market, because we will be back in real estate. That's my plan anyway. but like I said, like she just said, we took some of the risk off the table. We paid one off. Now we're going to get a line of credit on it, and just kind of sit and wait.
Right.
And who knows? We might put some of that in precious metals.
Well, we are right now. So I stopped for a little while, and then we're back nibbling at it a little bit, and so it's just, it's not.
This is awful lighting. You gonna move?
Well, okay. But here's the thing: it's just we're telling you what we're doing. We're not telling you this is what you should do. We say do your own due diligence. But speaking of that, I want to just cover on another topic really quick. So we're talking about gold and silver and prices and all that kind of stuff. People right now, so we just did a little bit of a research. People are spending more for what's coming up for the holidays. And because I kind of want to give you a few solutions of what we're looking at doing personally, because I said we try to be transparent what we're doing. And they're looking, but they're getting less. So they're spending more, but they're getting less. And we guys, we know that. We go to the grocery store, especially us. Well, you've been doing a lot of the grocery shopping lately, thank you. But,
yeah, I'm trying to chip in.
But yeah, but when you go to these different stores or whatever, there are a few things that you can see going down. If you guys go into the clothing store, you see there's more sales. Some things have started to go down, but everything pretty much is averaging 8% up. Now, that's just based on what we're seeing. We know that's more, but they're saying even they're going to start going to discount stores and different things like that, and people are tapping into their savings, their credit cards. It's up 15% compared to year over year, which is like a 20-year high, I think. And here's the interesting thing. You guys that are older, do you remember layaways? Well, they're coming back, but they're called, what is it, pay later or buy now, pay it later.
I see that everywhere. Have y'all noticed that when you're checking out online or whatever you're buying? It could be something weird that you would never want to finance.
Yeah, they're giving you that option.
You can buy it now, or you can make so many monthly payments at this. It's starting to be everywhere. Everywhere I go, and it's like, wow, are people really doing that? And if you are, I'm not harping on you. I feel for you.
No, I remember
don't want
my
anybody
parents.
to get in debt over.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I remember my parents didn't always have a lot of money, and I do remember we used to do layaway when I was a kid, and it disappeared. I haven't seen it in years, and I'm seeing it come back. Yeah,
well, and I mentioned in a video the other day with Jack about people using credit cards. He said people that make over less than $100,000 a year are usually involved in credit card debt.
Right, they are.
And I've never been involved in credit card debt. I really don't know.
I could see that because a lot of people, they can't afford, especially when inflation goes up high, just to make and not only that, but especially if you've got kids and you've got school clothes and you've got all these things that you have to buy and laptops and money goes fast. And speaking of that, we're not financial advisors, we said, but guess what? Here's a financial advisor, and this is what she said. She's an expert, and she urges people to pay off debt as soon as possible. She said, quote, if you have existing credit card debt, make a plan to pay it down now as aggressively as your budget would allow. Her name is Sarah Rathner. She's a personal financial expert at NerdWallet. Go look her up. She said, I would also say if you have credit card debt, stop using your credit cards. Now, people that, if you're in a bind, I mean, what do you say? But this is from an actual financial advisor.
Yeah, well, that's not really advice. You know, I mean, it is. It is advice, but I mean, it's just kind of like, hey, it's just like Jack said. It's not an intelligence thing. It's a feedback loop. You know, when you pay off your debt, when you pay off your credit card, you feel like you don't have any money. And I take this back to a friend of mine that was wanting to buy silver, and he told me he had credit card debt, and I was like, whoa, man, that's probably not the best idea. That could really put you in a bind because, you know, silver could go down. What would be wrong with paying off your debt and then, you know, recalibrating, getting ready, saving, maybe sell something and then moving into silver, you know, or gold or whatever you want to buy, land, oil, whatever you want to hedge with. But like I said before, gold and silver I'm not crazy attracted to them. They are a hedge for me. I don't collect coins. Like I said, I wear a necklace that my mother gave me. It's kind of a keepsake. And, but I've never really been crazy about gold, but I do hedge wealth with it.
Yes, we believe in it. It's not something that we're just saying, you know.
And then when you understand the narrative, when you understand that retail investors have 3 to 4% maybe exposure to silver, and you know what's coming in the future, that's when I'll start looking at miners. Right. Because when silver and gold move this much, the miners go nuts, and I want to take part in that. I want to participate. And that's why I'm talking about them. I'm pumped about it. And just so you know, I have almost as much wrapped up as miners as I do physical. That's how much I believe in it.
He does.
And
but I want to talk about solutions real quick for going back to Christmas and shopping and all that real quick. Because sometimes, and somebody made a comment about this the other day. They're like, that's, we're trying to keep it positive, you guys. That is our goal. We want to keep this positive. I got a few quotes that I want to read actually too. But they're like, what about solutions? So personally for us for Christmas, this is what we're doing. On one side of our family, we're not buying any gifts. We are just strictly going to get it for some kids, and that is it. We're planning on showing up, playing games. We're going to cook some food. We're going to have some great times. Granddaddy's going to be there, and that we said no gifts. Take it off the table, because truthfully, you're going to buy somebody that maybe they don't even need it. On the other side, we're drawing names instead of buying for a whole entire family. And sometimes you don't always know what they need and want. We're going to draw names. So we reduced right there so much money, so much stress, so much time, and that's a solution, you guys. Another thing I want to tell you guys, check on people with no family. This is free.
It's a
free.
big one.
Check on people. Go to a veteran's home, or if you know vets, check on your vets. This is free, you guys. This is through the holidays. This is where things get a little crazy. Inflation's up. People can't afford different things. And just encourage others. And speaking of that real quick, I know we want to keep talking, but it says it's trying to understand others' points of view. And our goal is to keep this positive, and I'm going to go down a rabbit hole real quick, but Chris and I, we have learned that I have to understand his point of view when it comes to this. Just like the gold and silver. You might not understand our point of view, so I try to listen to your point of view. And he's come to me with ideas before, and I've had to learn. Well, Ninja did a video this morning. He said, open your arms, embrace ideas. And he would come to me and I would like shut him down.
If you can get a good idea past Stacey, it's a ringer. It's good to get, she will shoot holes in it, but if it floats after that, it's a dang good idea. That's the truth.
We've done that, but he's had to teach me.
From making too many mistakes.
He's had to teach me, but that I've learned that. So try to understand others people. And through this holidays, you guys, and one more story, because I just had a lot of time to think about some things. I went to the vet here the other day. And people can attack other people. And sometimes you're like, why are they attacking me? What did I do? You don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't know what's behind the scene. Some people have some really issues in their lives. And I was at the vet, a lady walked in, and she immediately started attacking the receptionist, something about the time and the date and all that kind of stuff. And so the whole entire room just got quiet. And what do you say? The receptionist was so pleasant. She was so nice. The lady sat down. Within about 5 to 10 seconds, she started crying. And she told all of us in the waiting room her husband had just passed. And she said, and this was his dog. And she said, I promised him I would take care of it, and now I found a mass tumor on the dog. And she said, I'm devastated. It went from, oh my goodness, she was being rude, till there was a reason why.
You never know what people are going through.
You
never know. It's why it's so important to just hold fast and just don't. You see people lashing out, and just try to pray for them, and just watch them, and just really, and even if you don't understand it, even if you thought they were a friend, they might still be your friend, you know. But it's important. You don't want to add to the problem. That's the main thing.
And one more quote I wanted to say.
This is a pain in the butt holding this thing like this. Does this? Let me do this real fast. Do you guys like that better? Is that okay? I was scared I might shake it too much. I might try this in the next one. Let me know in the comments if you like far out or up close.
Yeah, this is my Thanksgiving. One more comment, then I will move on to whatever you want to do.
And I've got a tip for everybody.
So, this is actually a book that we've been listening to from Dale Carnegie, and I've been seeing some really good ideas from this book. Every man I meet is my superior in some way, and I'm trying to really keep that in mind whenever, because you think that, I might know this or get frustrated with this, and I'm really trying to pay attention to that. Someone's always going to teach me something.
You can learn a lot from a homeless guy, you know. That's the truth. You can learn from everybody. And I've got a quick tip.
Let's hear it.
So we were talking about Christmas presents earlier. So I'm done buying Christmas for my nephews and nieces, because when they are born, I buy their lifetime hunting license. It comes in the year every year. Every in the mail. In the mail every year. It's like $1,000 up front, but I'm done. And the only thing that thing does is go up. Hunting license will go up with everything else. So if you can buy their lifetime hunting license, hey, did you get your Christmas present this year? You know, so that's something you might think about doing. It's the gift that keeps on giving, literally.
It does.
And it's something I wish somebody would have done for me, because it's a pain in the butt to go get it. It just shows up in the mail and you're ready to go hunting and fishing for the rest of your life. So
He
just a quick
He
tip.
doesn't know it, but I might buy him a gift or two on the side. But generally speaking, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's a great tip. He actually came up with that when our first nephew was born, and we're like, what do we get them? You know, what's something of value? What's something that it will mean? And it was an awesome idea, and we've bought it ever since for everyone that's been born.
Yeah, I hope they don't have too many more kids.
But anyway, I think, oh, one more thing, a side hustle. So we're talking about Christmas presents and all that kind of stuff. I got a side hustle, another tip, auctions. One, if you want to find good deals, go to auctions. And I'm not talking about cars. I'm talking about furniture, dishes, people that are giving away stuff. And if you want to make money, clean out your house. Take them to those auctions. My parents have started doing that lately because my mom, bless her heart, I love her, but she can collect some stuff. And she has started cleaning out her house and taking this stuff to auctions. And she's been making some money. I'm pretty impressed. Instead of taking time, setting up a booth, wasting your time all day long, having to check on the booth at these flea markets and stuff, she just hauls a big truckload up to the auction, says, sell it for me, give me my profits, and walks away. So there's a side hustle you can think about.
And if anybody in the South says, bless your heart, that's about the nicest way to cut you down there is.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
She's such a sweet person.
That's right.
All right, well, I
So-
think that's all I got.
Guys, have an awesome, awesome day, and we will see you in the next one with some more information. Thank you for being here. Later.